Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Father Knows Something. And I love it. And now you can do it. Do it again.
Bow, 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 bow.
Good. I like that bow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Jonathan was calling me today and asking me things about his car and doing some mechanics. And I was walking him through steps and I said, Father knows what, Jonathan? He said, something. I was right. I nailed it exactly what he was supposed to do. And he saw it and he goes, wow. So anyways, here we are.
Here we are.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
And our theme tonight is, Miss Morgan?
In-laws.
In-laws.
In-laws. We have a couple like in-laws and holidays. We are still taking some holiday submissions. So be sure to write those in if you have any of those. But I think we're going to break holidays into two parts this year. Pre-holiday dilemmas and dilemmas that come from the holidays.
So it's post-holidays.
They can be as well. So keep writing in, even if it's a little after.
Well, because it does include Thanksgiving, technically. It begins the holiday season.
And then we're going to run right into New Year's.
Yeah.
So if you have any...
All those holidays have issues, man.
Pre-stuff, what you're going to do about, family,
Hanukkah,
New Year.
Christmas,
Hanukkah.
Ramadan.
Hanukkah's running on the same day as Christmas.
That could cause some conflict in some...
in some families.
In some families, for sure.
So we'll see what it is.
But in-laws today.
Let's go. Gotta wait for the music. Number 1. Who's reading? Pick a number between 1 and 10.
11.
And Morgan, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Can't pick 11 if you said 1 through
He
10.
accepted it.
I took it.
17.
Well, that one doesn't work.
He said 11. It's the same thing. I'll kick us off today.
Okay.
Trigger warning on this first one, friends. It does contain talks of very unhealthy, toxic relationships. So if you feel you can't handle that today, please skip ahead. Hi guys, longtime THT listener, and I'm just discovering Father Knows Something. Woo!
You made it.
Thank you.
You guys are wonderful. Okay, so here it goes. My 23 female, mother-in-law, 46 female, wants me to continue having a relationship with my father-in-law. He's a 54-year-old male and does not deserve the title. For some background, I've been with my husband, 27 male, for 5 years, married for 1 year. Ever since meeting my father-in-law, let's call him Steve, he has made some rude comments towards me and has been very passive-aggressive. He is very narcissistic, and in his eyes, he can do absolutely nothing wrong. Even if it is wrong, he will backtrack and turn it around and make it seem like you are the issue. 2 years into my relationship with my husband, Steve and him were driving to work together. They work away and sometimes carpool together. Not anymore. He asked my husband, quote, "Why do you want to be with her? She's too fat. You could be out fucking all those other girls." Jump to December 2023. My husband was heading out to their house, only a 10-minute drive away, and found mother-in-law on the road in her car crying. This is a very common occurrence because they are constantly fighting. He tells her to come to our house and talk to us. She tells us all of the nasty and horrible things he has done to her. There are so many she could not even keep track. When she's telling us these things, she mentions that she wants to leave and how she is so much happier when he's away at work. My husband and I offered to get a place for her and her kid. She made a therapy appointment that day and started going, and it has helped her immensely. She says she will only stay with him if he goes to therapy and gets help. I'm not sure why, because he has treated her like shit for the last 11 years. The past few months, it's been super awkward and high tension boiling over. He will not say hello to us. It's kind of like seeing someone in the grocery store who doesn't want to see you. He just leaves and goes to his garage. Mother-in-law tells us how he has been spiraling and treating her worse, and she is so close to leaving. April 16th, she tells us how she hasn't talked to him in 3 days. He's away at work because he's been completely ridiculous. The next day, he books a therapy appointment. ... She is totally caught off guard because she has been begging him to go since she started going in December. She was so close to leaving this shitty man, and now he is stringing her along yet again. I'm finally at my breaking point. So I called her and told her I cannot come over anymore when he is home. I get too anxious and I can no longer put myself in that environment. She understood. A week later, she came over and asked me what he has done to make me not want to come over. I gave her a list of reasons and she didn't really say much. She says, hopefully with therapy, maybe you'll feel better about him. I don't want a relationship with him. He has proven to me that he is not a kind human being and no amount of therapy can change that. So, how should I move forward with this? I absolutely love my mother-in-law, but it is so hard to have a relationship with her when she is with Steve. I feel like he is just stringing her along and reeling her back in. Like you say, Morgan, I can't burn myself just to keep someone else warm.
My feeling is immediately is just tell her exactly where you're at, far as you have no interest in having a relationship with him. And you would love to have an open door for her to come over and visit with you anytime you wish. And let's try that, because I know that if you come here, it's safe. It's a safe place. Mm-hmm. And if we go over there, it's not a safe space. And who wants to put themselves in harm's way?
Yeah. I mean, this is a really tough situation. There is a little bit more info. Ideal outcome to continue my relationship with my mother-in-law, mm-hmm. which I think is very attainable here. Mm-hmm. And additional info, there is a 9-year-old child involved. Mother-in-law does not have a job, as Steve told her she doesn't need to work and can just stay home. He has her totally trapped. Mm-hmm. I have told my mother-in-law that our relationship with him moving forward cannot be the same because of the things she has told us, and she says she doesn't expect it to be. Husband is totally okay with my decision and supports me not going over when Steve is there.
I mean, yes, it's very difficult and it's hard to watch someone go through this, but you've already kind of made your decision and have your answer. Mm-hmm. So really, the advice is just stick to it, mm-hmm. and don't fold on it. If he's there, or if you show up and you've been blindsided and he's there, you can go. I mean, you're in no way tied to them. You don't have to see them all the time. You don't have to go to certain events. Even your partner's cool with it. So if you're supported, then just stick to your guns, and that's it.
And let's go back to number one. This is the issue of her relationship and her husband's relationship with his mom. That's really it. It has nothing to do with, they have no control on their mom's relationship with Steve.
No.
That's not their issue. Unless she invites him to say, guys, can you help me, or this or that, with, the fact of some other stuff, and I want to make a move. Then it's something a little different where they can say, here's how we can participate. But they can't go to her really and say, we're not going to, have a relationship with you as long as you're married to Steve. And, why are you doing this? And, you got to dump this guy. And, you can certainly say, look, we support whatever you do. And, that's all your decision. But far as us, we'd love for you to come visit us here, and our relationship with you will be in this safe space.
Yeah.
And don't bring Steve.
And no, Steve's...
That was the problem.
Oh, I sound like a ghost. And Steve is obviously like the issue here, and she's just not ready to leave yet. I'm not sure how much I've shared in the past, but this was my life. This has been kind of something I've dealt with where, my mom had a very not healthy relationship. It was terrible at some points. And my little brother and everyone witnessed a very, very traumatic event. And, she didn't even have a kid involved, but she was never ready to leave, ever. And he ended up getting very sick, passed away, and that's what finally ended that relationship. She was never ready to go. And he did stop drinking. He did stop using drugs. So he did get better as a person, but people still held on to their experience and what they had witnessed him do. And that's kind of where you're at, our writer. we all had a hard time because like we didn't want to be around him after what had happened. And, when someone is still with them and they love them and they're trying to make it work, they're like, well, why can't you just get past it? Why can't you just get over it? I have. And it's hard to be put in that situation because like, yes, I do love you. I love you so much, but I also can't subject myself to this abuse, this toxicity, this unease, this anxiety. I love you. I'm here for you no matter what you need, but I can't be around him. I respect you and your decision, but I'm drawing that boundary for myself. And it's hard because depending on the person you're talking to, they might get it. Sounds like your mother-in-law does a little more, or they might not. And you just have to stand strong, stick to your guns, no matter the tears or whatever else, because it is a really hard situation to be in. And at the end of the day, like you have to also look out for yourself. And I think
And that's all you can control.
Yeah. And I think you're on absolutely the right track.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on to number 2.
Number 2. I desperately need advice. My soon-to-be mother-in-law and I had a massive blowout, and I have no idea how to proceed. A little bit of backstory. My fiance and I moved into his mom's house in August to allow us to save for a house. It was not ideal, especially because his mom and I never meshed well, even from the start, over a 4-year span. She's a very tough person to like. She's hypocritical, stubborn, makes strong opinions quickly with little perspective, feels entitled to her children's belongings, and manipulates the people around her to get them to do things that please her. Additionally, she has said many things to hurt my feelings. This can include making insensitive anti-vaccination comments, even though my mom passed away due to COVID, making comments on my diet, how I eat, even shit-talking my family to my face. Although she has irritated me from the start, I've bit my tongue for 4 years and have really tried to build a good relationship with her. This has included inviting her to run errands with me, helping her set up her classroom, decorating and baking for her birthday, and even giving her a cat that she absolutely adores after her other one passed away. Well, the day after Thanksgiving, everything blew up. She had been in a bad mood for the past few days and was taking it out on everyone, including my fiance. She was trying to take something sentimental from him because she felt entitled to it. His Texas A&M ring dunk picture, even though she is far from it. I finally had enough and said that it was his. This was my first time talking back to her. This made her mad, and she told me to butt out before she continued to harp on my fiance. Mother-in-law tried to argue that he isn't using it, which is where I followed up with comparing it to how she had left her vinyl cutter unopened for a year, but was upset with my fiance for opening it. This caused her to blow up and kick us out. It has been a downward spiral from there. She's been saying so many out-of-pocket things to my fiance and trying to convince his whole family to turn against me because I'm disrespectful. I could even give more specifics, but this write-in would go on forever. I'm very hurt by all of it, and so is my fiance. He's genuinely so upset by the situation, I don't know how to proceed anymore. I don't want her in my life or my future children's lives, but I know he's in a harder position, and I still want to support his decisions. He has made it beyond clear that I am his number one, but it is such a hard situation to navigate. How do I support him through this? How do we set boundaries? How can we balance a life where he still has a relationship with her and I don't? Or if he decided to cut off his mom, will he grow to resent me? How can I prevent that? I just need any advice on how to move forward and gain some sort of normalcy again. Ideal outcome, I just want to start a happy marriage and firm boundaries with my mother-in-law.
She really did you a favor. She absolutely broke the tie where you need to live with them. So it's actually a good thing that you guys are moving out. You did save some money. Yes, you will have to pay rent for right now. And it's going to put a change in things, but you don't belong in that house with her. It's a toxic environment. and you guys have to make your own nest, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that is going to change a lot of dynamic because she'll understand that she can't control you. This is all about control. And when you take the reins and control for yourselves as a couple and in your own little nucleus going forward, that is where you're going to draw that line where she's going to understand that this is your home that you're going to. She will not have a key. I don't have a key to your home. You guys are able, I come in, I ring the doorbell, I knock on the door, or I call and I'll say I'm coming over. I mean, that's the way it works. And that's what this is really about. It's about drawing that line and saying, I'm going to go to their home. And then there's rules, there's decorum. And she can't come into the house and start taking things to go do it, whatever the hell she wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the positive thing. And I think that's the first step in healing whatever this relationship will be going forward. This is a great, way to put up a parameter or a constraint for another sense of the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have so many different things running through my head. The first of which is living situations work for a time generally, whether it's living with a parent, living with a friend, living with roommates. You'll get to a point where that expires. And it's just like, you need your own place, or you and your partner need your own place. That's natural. So yeah, I think we've hit that point, which is good. Because you can grow and, hopefully you're able to save up enough to do that at this point. But even if not, definitely is going to be more healthy outside of that zone of control. Another thing that's interesting is how we all have things that are sentimental to us, no matter where on the scale that falls. Yet they can be sitting out of our view for years and years and years, and we forget about them. And someone else finds it and wants it, then all of a sudden we're like, nope, that's mine. And I just think that's just a general funny thought about human behavior, how we all kind of do that with things.
It's like a penguin with a shiny pebble. We all love our little pebbles.
We've all been purging so much of our stuff lately and moving and cleaning up and whatever. And there's stuff we never even knew existed still, yet you see it and you're like, oh, I got to keep that. Nope, I'm keeping that. And then it's just going to, I just think the cycle's funny. My final thought is it's really interesting as you have a partner, you get more serious, they become part of your family and you become part of theirs. And in doing so, I know we always talk so much about, oh, you deal with your family of origin if there's some sort of issue going on. At what point does that not necessarily apply when you feel, in this case, to step up and to defend your partner to their parent? And like, I know that there's applicable situations, but it's just interesting in general when, where that line falls.
I think it's hard because there's also people that we always say, deal with your family of origin. But there's a lot of people out there that can't. There are so many people out there that cannot set a boundary with their parent or talk back to their mom, or, if their mom says a passive aggressive comment or their dad is being emotionally manipulative or guilt tripping them. There's a lot of people out there that can't stand up for themselves and can't set the boundaries. So it's like, we can talk all day about everyone needs to deal with their family of origin and, blah, 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 blah. But if you have someone that's unwilling or unable to do that, that's where you get to this boiling point of then she feels she needs to step in because her partner doesn't have that ability. And it is very hard. Not everyone can do that. Even myself, I struggle sometimes. It's very hard. So
because it's hard because you become enemy number one the second you do that, unless it's only in situations where you don't have the time to get on a united front. Because if you're able to step away, which would be the ideal world, step away, you and your partner figure it out. Is this decision we want to make? Yes. Okay, we're going to go forward and do this as a united front. But if you do it Like if I step out and I go out and attack, or defend against the other family, then all of a sudden you're seen as the problem. It's not my child's not the problem. Oh, it's their partner now coming in and stirring everything up. And then it just becomes this.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. So the bottom line is your partner needs to be the one to really start setting these firm boundaries with mother-in-law. Your partner really needs to be the one to, realize whatever it is within him where he feels that he can't talk and advocate for himself and whatever. Like he needs to find that strength to do that. My only recommendation is honestly like couples therapy and individual therapy for him. Like I think that's really the only way forward because you do have a lot of questions and there are a lot of like, well, if we cut her off, is he going to grow resentment? And those are stuff that you guys are only going to be able to answer together in couples therapy.
And a lot of it has to do with, it really is the maturity of the parent. Now, Justin was really funny tonight in two instances, two separate occasions. And first occasion was, I'll go with the second. He said to me tonight, and you were there in the thing, about family and, helping his kids. And, I don't know how you consider me. Am I one of your kids? And I said, absolutely. So you have to really get to the part where you have that relationship with the in-law that where do I really, comfortably stand? Now, Justin can come to me with anything. And Justin could, together, you guys as a couple can certainly, come at me or have a discussion with me. When I'm having, frustration with you, Justin typically stays away. He lets us deal with our own shit. And if I had something with him, I would, talk to him directly, and I'm sure you would butt in. There's no doubt in my mind.
I got to make sure he's protected.
So tonight we were at Austin's and they were painting. And we were talking about, just my house and getting it clean and where am I? And so I was saying, when Morgan came in, she came in with a suitcase. When she left, it was 3 truckloads. And it's that all gone. And I go, and he goes, well, a lot of that was your stuff. I said, definitely everything outside of the living room was my stuff because she was like a cancer. She came in and took my closet space and it all went out.
Why does he make it sound?
Wait.
This is so far from the truth.
Wait a minute.
You're such a
part of that.
Oh, what are you?
Part of that was a story, but the bottom line was he came and he was defending you.
Thank you.
He came out and he was
not true.
And he started to defend you, and I go, wait a minute, she's my daughter.
No, it's not true. I had one little row in your closet. And the rest was your catastrophe. You're like a human hyperbole.
Okay. Anyways, the bottom line was I found it to be humorous on how he came to your defense. It was very cute. But it certainly, we did not go cross boundaries or get into pissing matches like what's going on in this.
No.
And so I think that's really comes down to the individuals to form those relationships. And sometimes they're not formable.
No, and that is what I wanted to bring up too. Sometimes they're not formable. I think everyone, when you start dating someone, you have this like ideal goal in your head or like vision. You're like, I want a great mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, or I want to be super close with my in-laws. And like a lot of people want that. Sometimes you're just not going to get that.
And sometimes you will.
You're not going to mesh. Like I've got a friend who dated this guy and the mom just did not like her at all. And that was a big sticking point for her because she's like, I love my mom. I'm so close with my family. And I always thought I would have a really close mother-in-law relationship. And so when I went out to dinner with her and she played Candy Crush on her phone the whole time and didn't look at me, I was really sad about it. And it's just kind of like leveling your expectations. And it's like, is this person your person? You love them enough that you don't have the in-law lottery and like you're okay with that. Because that is a sticking point for some people. Some people will not marry someone if they don't have a good relationship with the in-laws.
You know something? And I can understand that sometimes.
Because that's your life. It's your life. It's who you're getting into.
So really, I think if he gets on board and he's down, that's one thing. If he's uninterested, says, no, I'm not going to change the dynamic with my family, then you have a choice to make about your relationship
Absolutely.
with him. And that's
right.
it.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
I agree. I think it's totally fair for you to really go low contact with this woman. She kicked you out. You're living with her trying to save money and she kicks you guys out.
Both of them, not just her son too.
I mean, this is a bit unhinged. And then going around trying to go to the family. It's giving flying monkeys. She's trying to rally the troops. And yeah, she's giving very self-centered behaviors. Something's a little off here. So I do think it's best to go low contact, get your own space, and move on.
Okay.
One of this week's partners is Manscaped. The holidays are sneaking up fast. And if you're still debating what to get your guy, I've got the perfect gift for you. Forget those cliche gifts like socks or ugly sweaters. Get him something he's actually going to love and use with Manscaped. It's like the Rudolph of grooming, guiding him to the smoothest, irritation-free shave of his life. Justin's got some thoughts on it.
Manscaped is now my go-to. It's reliable. I love traveling with them. They hold their charge a long time. And honestly, they're just the most reliable trimmers I've ever used.
These trimmers are some of the only trimmers that don't give Justin razor burn on his neck. He tried so many. And the new Chairman Pro really is top notch. It's got skin safe blades. It's waterproof so we can use it in the shower. So no more cleaning up hair from your bathroom counter. Waterproof. So gift your man with the ultimate grooming experience by Manscaped and get him the Chairman Pro package for the holidays. It's a thoughtful and practical gift that he'll actually use and love. Get 20% off and free shipping with code FKS at manscaped.com.
That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code FKS at manscaped.com.
Number three.
Holding three fingers up for you that are watching. And for the ones that are not watching, I'm holding up three fingers.
Nice.
Just so you guys know.
Great. Good clarification.
Yeah, very good.
Hi, Father Knows Something crew. Just want to say a big thank you for both podcasts. I listen every week on my way to work. I'm writing in today regarding an issue I have with my fiance. A little background. We have been together for 5 years, engaged for 2, and we have a daughter who is 15 months. We decided a few months back to cancel our wedding and elope instead, and we would use the money we would spend on the wedding to move interstate. This would be about mid-2026. And in the meantime, we would move into my fiance's grandfather's house to save some money. We decided in September that we needed to kick this plan into place and talk to his grandfather regarding his offer for us to move in. His grandfather would move in with fiance's dad, who is the grandfather's ex-son-in-law. They have a good relationship. This is where the problem comes in. My fiance's dad has just been diagnosed with lung cancer, so this has put a hold on all of this. I can understand this is a really hard time for everyone, especially my fiance and his dad. My problem is I am extremely unhappy with where we are living now. It's so far from work. I don't like our neighbors. I am depressed coming home every day. I've expressed this to my fiance in the past, but since his dad's diagnosis, I've just pushed my feelings aside. How do I handle all of this? How do I support my partner and his dad when I am so unhappy and feel so stuck? Ideal outcome, either be happy with where we are now or be able to move and get our lives together, as at the moment, I feel like we're on hold. Additional info, my fiance's grandfather's house is 15 minutes from work. We would be able to save heaps so we can move interstate soon. And the house would be just perfect for our daughter with a nice backyard for her to play around in. Also, my fiance's grandfather has started to have falls at home, so it would be safer for him to live with someone.
This is a dynamic that has really gotten very, very challenging because of the father's cancer, obviously. So I don't know if they're going to need home care for the father with his cancer, going through chemo and other things or whatever. We have no idea how aggressive the cancer is. We have no idea what these people are going to go through and what they want to do. It would be interesting to know how big the grandfather's house is, if there's room for them and the grandfather to be there and not force the grandfather to go move in with the dad, his son-in-law. It's, these are some family decisions that have to be brought out and talked to. If the grandfather does not have a house big enough for the four of you, meaning the grandfather, you, your husband, and the child, then maybe you just need to go move somewhere closer and bite the bullet and say, we're going to have to go move into an apartment that's closer. And that's a decision you make with your husband. It doesn't involve anybody else. So we don't know these facts, what's going on with really the inner workings of the father and his father-in-law. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking though. Like,
you were thinking about moving in with the grandfather.
Yeah, especially hearing like in the additional info, grandfather
is starting to fall.
That worries me. So it's like, honestly, moving in, having a young little toddler around might make him, feel younger and increase his quality of life, having family around him. And I think it could be the ideal situation, especially given his dad now. His dad might need some additional help. And it sounds like you're moving closer to the dad as well. So that could be really good for everyone.
When Grandma Ellen was getting on in years, and just before she passed, and I knew that she was upstairs, and Mom was there when you were there. I mean, there was a little army going on over there, and I knew Grandma was having a tough time going up and downstairs, and we had this family discussion. It wasn't very pleasant, by the way. I mean, when the uncles got involved, that I wanted to make an addition downstairs off towards the garden. So Grandma was on the first level, never had to deal with steps, make life easy for her, get her a tub that she can, walk into.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do it right for her. And of course, all they cared about was something else other than really her health, was really her bank account.
Yeah, they didn't want to mess up their inheritance.
And that's what, this might be something that might be considered, that if the house really isn't big enough, and it's a 2-story house and he's falling, I mean, we don't know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, very true.
Then maybe you might want to think of doing an addition or an ADU or something that would help in his lifestyle, that will make it easier and more conducive for his mobility at this time.
There's a lot of ways to do that.
Yeah. And then you all stay together. I mean, that might be the plan.
Yeah. There's a lot of families that do that. I mean, Justin, his family's kind of been talking about, does his grandpa move into an ADU in his aunt's backyard? Does he get like a really, no stair elevator condo? Like, what do you do? And there's so many things with that. Like, there's studies that show aging in place for seniors is better for them. So there may be a deal where you guys can pay for the $20,000 addition or new bedroom or new bathroom or whatever, and then get equity in the house. And then the house becomes yours eventually. Who knows? Whatever you want to do to work that out. But I think your biggest concern is like, how do you even start this conversation? How do you approach it, given the fact that your father-in-law, your partner's dad just got this terrible news and probably doesn't really know what's going on yet? Are they doing chemo or are they doing surgery? What are they doing? And so I get how you can feel like it's probably an uncomfortable time where you can't even bring it up. I think you can, if you do it in a way that's like obviously sensitive, and you're kind of removing his dad out of the equation in terms of like, grandpa doesn't need to move in with him anymore. Let's just move in with grandpa. I think if you approached it that way, again, if that's possible, I think that seems kosher to me. What do you think?
So I think just in the way this is written, we're just misconstruing a few things. Not us, but just as you, the writer. Just because I don't think grandfather owes you guys anything. Circumstances have obviously changed.
Yeah.
In a very serious way. And yes, it was a great offer. The fact that you cancel the wedding, decide to elope and save the money. that's all still a thing. You're still going to move in a couple years. You're going to go interstate, and that's all good. But all of that building up to at the beginning of the story does not mean that just because it was offered once means it's owed to you.
No.
And so I just want it, it might be time to just take matters into your own hands.
Very true.
See if it works, right?
Mhm.
But let's be sensitive to the fact of also what's going on. And I know you're aware of that, but more in the sense that it's like, right now it feels like we have to get in grandfather's house no matter what. So he's got to go over and live with fiance's dad because he has to live with someone.
I see where you're going.
So let's get him out so we can stay on our plan. Plans change. And we've talked about this on this show.
Gotta be fluid.
Where plans change and this is life. We have to react. You're not being put in a world-ending situation here. So maybe it's having a conversation like you guys were talking about. But if that doesn't go well, the grandfather's not in the wrong.
No.
Not at all.
No. I mean, it was a gift, a favor to you guys for him to move out. Like him moving out of his home to go live with his ex-son-in-law, that's a feat for an older gentleman. So, if you, like you said, like you're miserable where you're at,
Go get an
if
apartment.
that's out of the cards now and you can't move in with him, because I do think that would be amazing. I
like it too.
I loved growing up and living with my great grandma. It was a magical childhood. But if that's not possible, signing a year lease closer to where you work, closer to everyone is not a big deal. And you're happier. Your village is supported and everyone has maybe a little extra help. And it's a win-win for everyone. Most importantly, like you and your family, because you're happier. You're not depressed. You're not hating where you live. You're
You never
closer
know.
to work.
And
Well,
I think
the thing is too, like choose happiness, even if it costs you a little extra money, because you don't know if all this money you're saving, you don't know if you're ever going to get to use it. That's the scary part about life is for any of us, it could end right now. It could, you don't know if you have tomorrow. It doesn't mean go buy a Lamborghini today. Still be smart and live for the future a little bit, but still live in the now.
unless you're going to live in the Lamborghini.
Sure, but don't suffer now to try and make sure your future is that much better. Enjoy the whole ride.
Right. And the bottom line, I think I started the whole thing by saying, number one, if you can't, if it's not going to work, go get an apartment.
Yeah.
Go find your own, or go find a house to rent or something.
Control your destiny.
That's right. This is all on you and your husband, you and your they're already married.
Right.
Yeah. So this is on you and your husband to go, supply a home for you, husband and child. And if something else works out, great. Otherwise, you guys go get somewhere new where you're happy and where it's more conducive. That's it.
Yeah.
Be
Absolutely.
simple. Okay, we're going to move on to another one. Number 4.
Moving on to number 4.
How many fingers am I holding up?
15.
Yeah.
One of this week's partners is Skylight Frames. Something I think that is so important is keeping connected with loved ones. And one way you can do it if you live far from family or friends is Skylight Frames. Also the perfect gift right now for the holiday season. Skylight Frames is a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. I gave my mom a Skylight frame a couple of years ago. She feels like she's not missing out on so many big moments in my life, and I get to show I'm the best kid by continuously adding the most photos. I love that Skylight is super easy to set up, so no matter who it is you're gifting this to, they can do it. Skylight also has gift mode, so you can personalize this and preload it with all those memories before you even give it to your loved one. Now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/father. That's skylightframe.com/father. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/father. Okay, number 4.
I got it.
Hi, Father Knows and Two Hot Takes family. I'm a longtime listener, first-time poster. First, I want to apologize for how long this story is, but I want to paint a full picture with all the details so there is no confusion. Here's the story. Is it wrong that I, 26 female, don't want to spend the holidays or special events with my boyfriend's family, 25 male. I want to start by saying my boyfriend is my person. We are about to move in with one another and started talking about our future early on in our relationship. We started our long distance relationship at the beginning of 2023. I met him through friends from college, and we continued to do long distance. But now I am at least living in the same state as him. However, there's one issue with this picture. I don't respect his family, and they don't respect me. At first, I loved his family. We started dating during a time of sadness as his mom had recently passed. Even with the loss, I felt comfortable and accepted by his family. My boyfriend has 3 brothers, 23, 31, and 36, and 2 of them have wives and children. I don't have any siblings or a large family, so I was excited to enter such a fun, large family that is very family-oriented. I particularly got close with one of his sister-in-laws, 28 female, as we are close in age and have other similar interests. We ended up spending a lot of time together when I visited, especially when my boyfriend had work. Because of this, I really began to trust her and build a great friendship with her. Fast forward to January 2024. Sister-in-law got pregnant and announced to the family. In March 2024, I visited the family and we hung out one day at her house while boyfriend was at work. We started a harmless, air quotes, harmless conversation about baby names. She then asked me if my boyfriend and I have thought about children and names, to which I answered yes. She asked if I could share those names, to which I didn't. A minute later or so, she asked again and promised that she is only asking so that she didn't take any names, since there were 2 names she had to pick. I really trusted her, so I told her some of the names I loved and envisioned to name my future children, with the name Luca being the most special of all. When I told her and reiterated not to use them, there was no immediate response from her, but that they were cute names and she had never really heard of that one before. So we continued the conversation with laughs. That night we went to dinner with our partners and somehow names were brought up again, and I reiterated again not to use the names, just in case she didn't hear me or take me seriously. A few weeks later, my boyfriend was over at their house with other family members and names were brought up. One of the top contending names for the twins?
Luca.
You guessed it, Luca. My boyfriend did pull his brother aside and mentioned how we liked that name and that we would be upset if they used it. When my boyfriend told me this, I was immediately hurt, but was hoping that they would listen to my boyfriend, and I stayed optimistic. The months passed and it was finally September. They announced on social media the birth of the twin boys.
Luca,
the firstborn, and secondborn. Since then, I've kept my distance. I haven't texted the sister-in-law or visited the family, even though I said I would once the twins were born. I don't trust his sister-in-law or brother, and I find it very sneaky that they didn't even give us a warning. Now that the holidays are around the corner, I'm in a pickle. Since this baby name situation, I have taken a closer look at his family and some of our encounters. Our political views do not align. I have seen some very questionable posts on their social medias, and I have looked back on conversations that now make me uncomfortable and question their true personalities and family values. So, should I be honest with them? Should my boyfriend and I bring up how we feel about the baby's name? Do you think too much time has passed for my boyfriend and me to confront them? I feel like in order for me to be comfortable around them in the future, they should be aware of how we feel. But my boyfriend and I are not very confrontational people. Ideal outcome? I don't want to keep feeling inferior or feel like I must miss holidays with his family or find excuses to not visit. I want my boyfriend to be around his family, and I would love to go get a place where I can also be around them because his nieces and nephews are adorable, and they don't deserve to be placed in this category. However, right now, I don't want to be a part of the family where I don't feel supported or valued. It took me a long time to find the courage to stand up for myself after not being supported by my own family and past friends, and I made a promise to myself to never put myself in situations like that again or be involved with people who constantly put me down. Me being the empath that I am, now I feel bad feeling this way towards his family.
Well, first of all, they're not putting you down. They gave you the highest regard because they stole a name that they were not able to come up and be creative enough to find.
To find on their own.
That's right. So they paid you the highest compliment by stealing it from you.
Yeah, what's that saying? Imitation is the one? Imitation is the most flattering thing of all, or
something like that.
Yeah.
something.
So the only thing that you really
I don't agree with it. It's rude.
Look, what they did really sucked. There's no doubt about it. Especially when you told her and you went under trust not to use it. The first thing she did, she said, "Wow, what a great name. I got to use it."
She didn't even want to at first.
Well, we don't know what.
No. She didn't even want to say it at first.
Right.
She literally said, "No, I don't want to share."
Right.
No, I'm good.
Anyway,
Ah.
the fact that you did, and the fact that it got out, and the fact that they used it, and it's on the birth certificate, we got to go move forward.
I'd still use it. If that's a name you truly love, use it.
But you can also be more clever and come up with another one too.
You can, but if
because-
that has such sentimental value based on something, or you truly love it, I would still use that name.
And you may, but even if you use it, and I'm sure you'll love your nephew and love the name that he has. I mean, you can make a positive thing rather than making war. You can make something positive. I'm not for a second saying that she was right. She was a jerk. There's no doubt. Both of them. They both agreed to take a name that you created and gave them. So maybe it's a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she created the name Luca, but it was definitely a unique name, and sister-in-law said she'd never even heard of it before.
Well, no, Luca's is not a name she created. I mean, we had Luca Brasi and The Godfather.
No, you said created. I'm like, well, I don't think she created it.
No. I mean, she's the one that brought it forward in this case. She brought that energy.
And I think it's hard because a lot of people fight over baby names, siblings, all the time. This is a very common thing that comes up.
And we've had it before.
Yeah, I've had it on my show too. I mean, it comes up. So you just have to ask yourself, the bottom line, you are extremely disrespected. I don't think you need to exclude yourself though from family events and the rest of your in-laws, because you still have, his two other brothers, one of their other wives, kids, whatever. I don't think you should exclude yourself because that's only going to make your life harder. I would go to family events, but I wouldn't go out of your way to interact with those two.
If she asks you anything personal, you can easily just say, something.
I'm done sharing.
You asked me something personal one time and it bit me in the ass and you disrespected me. And I'm trying to understand why you'd want to hurt me. And let it go at that and just say, I really find I can't open up to you. It's sad because the person that created this barrier is you. Mm-hmm. And you have to own it. And if you could figure out a way that I can find that I can trust to talk to you and know that it's not going to hurt me, well, right now I can't. And you do it just like that. And, that might be an answer where she might say, look, I need to remedy this. It depends how smart she is. If she's smart, she'll try to remedy it. If she really does have,
people that are that selfish and self-centered and disrespectful.
Probably not going to remedy it. But look, you move on, you move forward. This is going to be years of being with a family. And the more you have that, that acts out, the longer it's going to take to really have a relationship of a family thing. You kind of have to let some stuff go and just say, I'm really glad he really fits the name and he's a good kid. And
fuck it. No, you don't have to.
I'm not going that far.
No.
Boy.
No.
No, I think war is fun sometimes.
Well,
I'm not saying you go start a war on this, but it is fun sometimes.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this?
I admire our writer for how nice of a person they are in the way they react to this.
Dude, I would have blasted this on the family Facebook page. Group chat galore.
And I guess one thing is on this one issue, I'm ready to go war with you. Let's go.
Let's go.
Bring out the tanks. But if you step back and just look at the overall picture, look at your relationship, look at the rest of your life with this relationship and this family. Is it worth it to do whatever you're considering, right? So whether you're going to bury it and just try to forget about it, is that going to drive you crazy and it'll keep hurting for a very long time and ruining stuff with them? Or are you going to let them know your feelings and see that option? Are you going to go to war, which doesn't seem like you've already said that's not really your style. So I would just take a step back and look at what you would like going forward, kind of like in your ideal outcome, and just really judge decisions based on that, because it's a slippery slope when you stop going to things and you start avoiding. The game of telephone sucks. And so if you're going to be clear, find your moment with your partner to do that. And then also, because you're saying it's like ringing these alarm bells with everything else, you're starting to look at the whole situation differently. Maybe keep that in mind and continue your interactions and see if anything else falls in that way, because I like making decisions off of patterns and not off of one, just unless it's really bad, but just one weird thing or one very blatant, rude thing like this. I would, with the rest of the family, I'd be curious if you find a pattern to then make a decision based off that.
Yeah. I think you made some really good points. And I will say, these are just two people. Don't let it ruin the whole family for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you address them? I don't know if you want to send a group text between you, your boyfriend, and the sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and let this come from your boyfriend, because this really is his family. But you're also very hurt, and I think he can express that. But I think because he also did go to his brother and say, hey, we love this name, we will be hurt if you use this, and his brother still did that to him, like, that is also like, it gives him even more justification to be the one to initiate this. And I think it can be simple, sending in a message like, hey, we've took some time to really process this, and we do just want to know we are deeply hurt by you using a name we specifically asked you not to use. I initially didn't share because I was scared you would take it, and you did. And so we're really, really hurt by this, and hope that you can be more respectful of us in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And if we distance ourselves from you, this is why. I think you absolutely have that within your right. And just, you'll see him at family events. You don't have to be warm and fuzzy and go out of your way. It's honestly, as someone that's done this quite a bit at family events, it is really easy to avoid people in a room full of family. Really easy.
It's easy to avoid people if family or not.
No, like, I was at multiple different holiday events with someone and didn't talk to them for years. So it's possible. It's possible.
Okay.
Very easy.
Well, please write in and tell us how you did handle it.
We'd love to know.
Okay.
But moving on.
Number 5.
Another one of this week's partners is iHerb. Have you ever ordered something online, gotten it, and literally looked at an expired expiration date? I have. And that shouldn't happen when it comes to health and wellness products. It's gross. With iHerb, you are going to get nothing but the best. iHerb offers the best curated selection of wellness products at the best possible value. And they've got everything from supplements, sports nutrition, groceries, beauty. I'm able to get some snail mucin and also my tallow soap. Oh, and I can get chicken bone broth too. It really is your one-stop shop for all your health and wellness needs, as they offer over 50,000 products. And again, quality products. These are products sourced directly from the brands or authorized distributors. There's no third-party sellers. And you're going to get free shipping in the US on purchases over $30. Our listeners get 22% off their first order when you use code FKS at iherb.com/shop/FKS. Existing customers receive 15% off. That's 22% off your first order at iherb.com/shop/FKS. Use promo code FKS. Choose iHerb, because wellness matters. Okay, so trigger warning on this next one. Our writer does mention that it includes talks of SA, suicide, and cheating. So if you feel that you can't handle that today, this is where we leave you. We love you. Thank you for joining us on another episode. Hey everyone, I've been a listener of both podcasts since the beginning and love all of your advice and takes. My issue is with my family relationships. My 24 female issue started summer of 2022. At the time, I was 6 months pregnant, married to my husband, 28 male, and living in the same town as my family. One night, I randomly got a message on Snapchat from an unknown account. The message went something like, "Hey, my name. I was just reaching out because I wanted to let you know that I look at your Finsta all the time and I touch myself to pictures of you. I just want you to know that there is someone out there thinking of you always."
What's Finsta?
A fake Instagram account.
Okay.
When I saw the message, I immediately went and showed my husband, just saying, quote, "Ew, why are people so gross?" After a short conversation, we realized that this must be someone in our close circle, as I only have a few people on that account that I really trust. We decided that we were just going to write a message back and try to figure out who it was, thus starting a 3-month journey of trying to figure it out. Throughout these months, we wrote the messages together, and my husband saw everything that was sent to me. Just to give you a small idea of what all I was sent, this account sent me dick pics, videos of them making themselves climax, voice recordings with the voice altered of them saying my name while climaxing, talking about how they saw me in person and just wanted to make out with me, and much, so much more.
This is ick.
Every time I would get a violating message, I would show my husband, and we decided together that we wanted to know who this was so we could cut them out of our lives. Well, it was my brother-in-law, 26 male, who is married to my older sister, 27 female. Now, we have a long history with my brother-in-law. Namely, he was roommates/childhood best friends with my ex-boyfriend. This ex-boyfriend assaulted me multiple times throughout our relationship, and brother-in-law, who wasn't with my sister at the time, would find me after the assaults and help me. About 2 months after I broke it off with my ex, brother-in-law started dating my sister. I was very vocal with my sister about not wanting her to date him, as it was triggering for me. She did anyway, and now they are married. Well, when I found out that it was my brother-in-law that was messaging me, my husband and I both lost it. We were wildly uncomfortable, and I was extremely triggered. After processing for a few weeks, at this point, I was 3 weeks from my due date, I told my older sister what had happened. She didn't want to see the messages. I offered to show her. All she knew was that brother-in-law had sent me sexually violating messages and nudes. She stayed with him and asked not to talk about it again. Fast forward to December of 2023. My sister and brother-in-law are divorced. Got divorced in October. My sister says that she is totally over what happened and doesn't want me to talk about it ever again. Per my sister, they got divorced for other reasons. Too much to get into. However, she recently told me that they are hanging out again, and brother-in-law asked about coming to my daughter's birthday. Of course, my husband and I said absolutely not. Because of them hanging out, I've been extremely triggered, and I am now worried about the holidays. I decided to tell my younger sister, 22 female, what had happened, and she was extremely supportive and thankful that I told her. However, the rest of my family, mom, dad, and younger brother, all have no idea. So, do I tell them? Is it wrong for me to want the rest of my family to support me? How do I move on from this when my brother-in-law is still in my sister's life and I am supporting her through the divorce? Ideal outcome, I want to be able to heal from this and move on. I just want to feel validated that this was a violation and I'm not overreacting, which it feels like I am because of my sister not prioritizing me. If my husband did this to my younger sister, the world would burn.
I got a question. This is a sexual predator.
Yeah.
And he should be on a list.
I think you could technically press charges for this. I'm not a lawyer, but this feels like very much sexual harassment.
So
I don't think you can continuously send people
let me just finish
content like this.
Let me finish my thought. My thought is your family has a right to know. Point blank. This guy is creepy all the way around. And he's guilty of it. You're holding the evidence. And all you have to do is say, guys, if you don't believe me, here is the evidence. It's right here. This is real. And I don't want this guy around me, my kid, nobody, my little sister. Who knows where this guy is? And if Stacy or whatever her name is wants to hang out, the sister wants to hang out with this, then so be it. But I don't want him around me at all.
Mm-mm.
Would you go to the sister first?
I definitely would go let her know. Would I tell the sister that this is coming out?
Well, would you tell the sister, hey, I don't want to be anywhere around this guy.
Well, she did.
And with the holidays approaching, I'm nervous. So are you planning on bringing him? If so, here's my plan.
I think the plan should go out anyways.
Yeah, I think it needs to happen regardless.
Okay.
I think that that everyone has a right to know what's really what went on with what she's the one that received it.
Yeah.
She has the right to disclose whatever she wants to whomever she wants with this, because it's real and it's right there. It's in her hands.
I do like the idea though of going to the sister and just being like, hey, because it's like they're divorced. They're divorcing. Timeline I'm a little confused on, but like I'm supporting you, like, and now you're talking to him again. Are you bringing him? I'm nervous. I think having that conversation.
Yeah.
But don't use it as like, okay, well, if that's your plan, then here's my plan. You don't use it as like leverage, because that feels a little manipulative, and like your family does, as you said, everyone deserves to know.
Then I would say to her, I'm just letting you know, I am sharing this with the family, period.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a 5-minute head up, but it's going to be shared with mom and dad and sister and whatever. We are going to know what really happened. This is on my phone. He put it on my phone.
I hope you saved everything. I know it's Snapchat, so like screen recording, I don't know if that was a time when you started getting these, but like I would honestly
she shared it with her
charges.
husband.
I would press charges. This is unacceptable.
Well, and I don't know why you're concerned at all about your sister and what she's going through, because she doesn't give an S about you.
No.
She doesn't care about you at all.
She's completely disrespected you in so many times. And like you said, if your husband did that to your younger sister, the world would burn. Like,
yeah, and she doesn't care.
She doesn't care. And there's something else in the additional info I want to read. My family is all extremely close and we see each other weekly. My 2 younger siblings are in college at least 3 hours away. During this year, my husband did confront brother-in-law as I didn't feel comfortable and set strict boundaries after we caught brother-in-law watching me breastfeed our daughter and other creepy things.
He's a creepo. We got ick. There's ick
Everyone
everywhere.
needs to know.
There's ick everywhere around this thing. It's ick.
This is not okay. And I think your sister has made it very clear, like, I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it. It's like, well, do you understand what I went through? Like, there's so many layers to this onion where it's like our writer was in an abusive relationship, would get assaulted, and then this guy would help her in the most vulnerable, probably worst moments. And it's like, to then start sending me this shit after you saw me in this vulnerable state.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? It's terrible. So tell your family you have no reason to feel guilty. This is absolutely atrocious behavior. And obviously on his part, but also your sister, and your family deserves to know. And this is not your fault, not anything to do with you. This dude is fucked.
Predator.
Anything further, please save. Please start documenting everything and seriously consider getting charges pressed. Sexual harassment. I'm blown away.
Yeah. I would certainly give the police and file a report, because we don't know who else he's done this to.
That's the thing. Yeah.
See, they'll know quickly if anyone else has complained of such.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, everyone. We'll see you we have Patreon coming up.
We have lots of Patreon coming up for December.
So
so much.
So come visit us. We'll see you in the backyard. On that note, good night for now, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.